Hi, Thomas. How are you?
Hello, Roman. How are you?
I'm good. Good. Welcome to the AWS Developers Podcast. I'm really glad to have you.
Thank you.
And we are in London for the AWS Summit.
We are indeed. We're
Yeah.
proud.
Yes, indeed. It's super charged today. So many people around. I was lining up for a tea. I couldn't get one. So many
Oh,
people.
dear.
How's your experience so far?
It's pretty nice. So just a little bit of context. We have a bit of a strike situation in London. So getting in was a bit of a gamble, but
Yeah,
it was very smooth and it only got better from there. So pretty good.
very good. Okay. Are you excited to hear from Werner today?
Yes, I always admire his talks, especially the last one, Reinvent talk about being curious and being adaptive.
Yeah,
It was
the
amazing.
Renaissance Developer.
Precisely.
Yeah, that was a great talk. I encourage all my customers to listen to it, and I will put the link into the show as well, show notes, because that's a great talk indeed. And I was surprised actually that Werner would talk today, because I thought it was his last big talk at reInvent.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I guess he's still a curious person and he still has things to share, right?
Oh yeah,
So I think it is right to give the stage to more people to share a more mixture of ideas. I'm still curious what will come in his place
Yeah.
in the Thursday keynote. But yeah, it's right to do this, but also he's still a brilliant man,
Yeah, he's
brilliant ideas, and he should still keep sharing them.
Oh yeah, I'm so looking forward to hear what he has, for us. So it's cool. Thomas, who are you? Sorry, and yeah, let's start with the intros.
Nice. So, hi, I'm Tomasz. I'm a software engineer. I work for a company, Duco Technologies. We are on a mission to supercharge data automation for mission critical data. We offer solutions that are AI native,
Okay.
allow you to read your data, analyze it, prepare it, compare, find differences, and plan actions based on that. Essentially, our mission is to automate 90% of the manual work around data reconciliation, around the regulations controls, so that you can focus on the actually hard problems.
Okay. So using the data basically.
Precisely.
Okay.
And then by trade, I like to say I'm a boring Java dev. And while I'm a boring Java dev, my involvement with AWS is that I am an AWS AI hero,
Yes.
which I entered through the AWS Deep Racer League, um,
In 2019, I think.
2019,
Yeah.
and then the rest is history.
Okay, cool. So not a boring Java developer. I mean, I had several Java champions. So Simon Martinelli on Java and James Ward and Josh Long. So Java is all the hype now with Spring AI and a bunch of other capabilities.
Yeah, that's actually quite interesting. There's the Java, Spring AI. There's the native JVM images that you can run. There's a lot of potential for it to be leaner. It's no longer this old stagnant, slowly moving and boasted thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things and always way more than you can grasp, which is amazing and scary at the same time.
Yeah. Agree. Agree. Cool. All right. So thanks for joining us today. I know that you have been working on you have been participating to the AI League at the summit. Can you tell us more about what it is?
Correct. The AI League is a way for you to have fun while learning, building agents and introducing agentic AI tooling.
Okay.
So this is a mixture of workshops and challenges that are kind of covered in the gamified layer. If you are addictive to competitiveness, then essentially it allows you to learn much faster. what you do in it is there is a game challenge, which is kind of a dungeon maze game type of a thing. And you are tasked with building an agent that can plan how to go through a board. Some of them you see, some of them you do not see. You need to gather as many points. You need to win challenges, and they either give you points or cost you lives.
Yeah. Okay, good. So it's a fun way to learn. It's a great way to engage with AI and in a safe environment. So and you can dive deeper into the technology. But also, it's not happening just in London, right? So we are going to release this episode in the coming weeks. But we do have other summits coming up.
Yes, there's, I think, 6 or 7 summits where you can join the AI League. This week, it's London and Bengaluru. There are more coming. I think there will be also more opportunities for individuals to join. And maybe just for context, it's not just that it's fun. It's not just that you compete against others. There are prizes. And by prizes, I mean, I think the pool is $50,000.
Okay.
And if you win the qualifications, you get an expenses covered travel to reInvent.
Wow.
You participate in the finals, which is, it doesn't come every day, and it also fuels the competition a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is also it's worth mentioning that apart from the individual path, there's also the enterprise organizations path. So reach out to Amazon, and then you can have your internal competition, which also joins the finals tournament.
Okay, meaning that if I am running a big organization, I can organize inside of my company this type of AI league and join the worldwide championship, basically.
Yes, precisely.
Nice. Okay, exciting. That's pretty good.
Yeah, the experience is actually pretty interesting because you come to just learn how to build something, and you are exposed to an agent core. You build an agent, sub agents. You try your prompting. You create the tools. I've been following it for a while. So the first one that I experienced was at the workshops at the reInvent. I also can see how my reaction to it changes. So in December, when we were following the workshops, when I, for instance, used AWS Kiro for solving, it almost felt like cheating.
Okay.
One thing I realized when I did this one now is like, it's totally fine. It's no longer cheating. Everyone does this, and it's a fair game, and it just helps me, achieve better results. So it allows me not only to learn how to build solutions, but also to kind of introspect at how my perception of the tools is changing. And the tools are changing very rapidly. So the perception also.
Indeed. So are you using Strains SDK or Spring or something else?
The experience in the AI League, you do essentially ClickOps. So this is because this is the workshops following type of a thing. You have a agent core UI experience where you can combine agents, sub-agents, and then, combine tools to it. It has a little bit more of a, nicer user experience for the optimized for the workshops.
Okay.
So it's slightly different, but also we have access to what you have in the account in the workshop. So you can see what's happening in the logs. You can see what's happening, with your tools. You can use agentic support to build lambdas to solve problems. So things like that.
That's good. Okay. So you are in a good position right now, right?
I just got knocked off the first place.
Oh.
And I know the guy.
Okay.
And I'll find him. Hopefully I'm only going to beat him on the board. I think this is something that is an interesting initiative, or like something that AWS have been doing for a while, right? So with Deep Racer, the gamification was there. But something that also happened was that we can do not as much of a competition as a competition. We cooperate, and then we compete, and then we cooperate, and then compete. So the knowledge mixing, there's this whole dynamic of you're a teacher, you're a student at the same time, and the knowledge mixing allows you to be even better. So that's something that just draws me to it. The curiosity of people who just want to solve a problem, do well.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great way to learn, indeed, and exciting. And probably you can meet very interesting people as well. So
Yes, indeed. So the people that were involved in the Deep Racer community, there was a whole community. We had essentially over 60,000 people who went through the community through the years. Some for a short time, some stayed around, some we're still in contact, we're still friends, right?
okay,
We are sitting at one table at the workshop at the AI League as well. Like, somebody came from Ireland, somebody came from Netherlands. So that's kind of there's this core of people who just stick together, and there's the bunch of curious people who just want to join. And we've got our own Discord, in which we support people and help them get started.
okay. Is it driven by AWS or by the community?
So this came from the community, from the people, so from outside the AWS, but we cooperate because I think, AWS has its powers that it can bring, and if you have a good program or product that is encouraging or builds the curiosity, is great. And then there are those, spaces, sometimes around the edges, sometimes also in the middle, where the communities can step in and support.
That's great.
So whether this is, for instance, just running a commentary on an event that's happening, or sometimes it might be just, almost acting as a first tier of support, or like backtracking reporting solution. We all mix ideas, we learn from each other. That's the most amazing part about being in a community.
Yes, indeed. So thanks for all the work that you do in the community. That's really helpful for many people. I mean, many people reach out today again saying that, okay, how do I start working on AWS? How do I start with the cloud? What should I know about AI? So thanks to people like you in the community, I mean, that's that's a pathway to get to the cloud, to even change roles sometimes.
Yeah, thanks. That's very kind. And we've seen this. We've seen people who join just to have a little bit of fun, and then suddenly they are, I don't know, they used to be engineers, now they are DevOps engineers.
Yeah.
They learned how to create their first containers, or run EC2s, or manage costs, even,
Yes.
because everything is an ingredient of this, right? But yeah, if anyone wonders how to start, I think programs like the AWS AI League are great in that it uncovers your curiosity, and it can do this in a way that you become almost vulnerable, because you don't know what is hard. You don't know that things are tricky and take time. You are excited about this. Something works, something doesn't work, and you try to figure it out. If you've got somebody next to you that will say, "Oh, let's have a look together. Can we do something better? Can I give you a piece of advice?" Usually, people get more encouraged and they do more, and then you can see them achieve even bigger things later. And it's like, yeah, I was somewhere on the path of this. This is probably the most incredible part of it for me.
That's good. Yeah, that's really good. I had Chris Miller, another AI hero, who also joined the hero program through the Deep Racer.
Yeah, just
a while
want to
back. Yeah,
guess how we met.
Yeah. So he's also helping a lot of customers, or a lot of people in the community join and learn about AWS.
Yeah, Chris is a incredible technologist and an amazing human being. He is, I always enjoy meeting him. He's always fun to talk to. He's always fun to share experiences with. He will make time to give you advice, to support you, and sometimes to discourage you, which I even appreciate more than anything else.
Yes.
So yeah, interestingly, we have, I think, over 10 heroes. I don't remember the exact number. I met them through Deep Racer, and even though this might not be their core activity that kind of brought them into the community, when we meet, it's always nice to see everyone, because they recognize me, I recognize them. We spend a few minutes chatting together, and yeah, the community it's just like boiling with curiosity, right? So yeah, it's a great place to
Yeah.
be. It's great people to connect with.
Another guest was Mike Chambers, another former AWS hero, also who went through the deep racer route.
Yeah, precisely. So I've also, I worked with Mike briefly as well. We've done some things. We also had Carlos Cortez from Peru. I'm not sure if you talked to him. So the same thing. It's like my bragging rights about YouTube is there's a workshop. I think it's had like, I don't remember how many views, but way more than anything that I've done before. And it was essentially me talking for 2 or 3 hours about Deep Racer, running the car, showing what it looks like and how to get started because they wanted to have a race in Peru.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun. Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. All right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
So we wanted to discuss about developer experience today.
Yeah.
This is my big focus also. So really passionate about that and how we can help things, the way you build with AWS, but also more generally how we build. So I'm really excited to have that conversation with you and getting your insights.
Yeah. So I've been working as a Java engineer for many years now. One thing that I've learned is that uh, if you have friction, this will always weigh you down even more than anything else, like technical problems, outages. These things happen.
Yeah.
But if you actually don't have your processes right, this will cause problems. And even pre AI, I had experiences where somehow I've been always drawn to just building CI for the team I was on, if it was at all possible. Either like, single click releases when I wasn't aware that you can do kind of, every time you push, you can have a release. But always, what I always found was um, the developer experience is not about developers or the experience at all. It is about the organization's ability to execute, about the ability to make an impact that makes the customers feel seen, valued, appreciated, and supported. And this is quite often a difficult conversation because not everybody sees that.
Mm-hmm.
And now when we are in the AI space and everything is changing so rapidly, I was kind of trying to figure out the timeline of what happened. Like 18 months ago, we could ask a chatbot for advice, just about it, right?
Yeah.
About a year ago, we started using agents, or I started using agents, and I was seeing like, the models are maybe not that great. Something changed around December. This was the moment that I could see
Like
people said,
Opus 5.
yeah, but even Sonnet 4.6, I believe, was the 6, 7, something like
It was Sonnet 5 at that time.
Yeah, things were changing,
Yeah.
right? And you said, something has moved, right? And everyone who said, like, this is not going to work, you have different conversations right now.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
This also means that people tend to think, okay, so now maybe we don't need as many experts, or maybe we don't need the skills. And the skill essentially shifts, right? The complexity shifts. But also, the thing that changes is that people start to realize that this is not just extra boost to speed everything up. This is an amplifier.
Yeah.
Which means that if you have friction, the friction also gets amplified, and the relation between the friction and the flow that you have is not linear.
Yeah. Can you elaborate a bit more on that? What type of frictions do you think that AI can amplify? What have you experienced, for example?
The things that I can think of is if your validation is not solid, you will start missing things and you will start getting problems that will just bite you further down the line. If you have, for instance, issues or unstable CI environment, this will also bring you down. This will hold you back. The same thing with the delay. If the tools can work this fast now, if you need to wait, for instance, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours for a
Yeah.
full regression, this will kill your momentum immediately. But it goes beyond the tools. If your process doesn't take this into account, if you don't have a good discipline around gathering requirements and deciding what the impact is, also if you don't have a direction around which you can align the teams, you immediately start getting drift, because if I think in this way and I can change things, somebody else can think in a different
Yeah.
way and change things, and we can collide. So
Or
somebody
diverge too much.
or diverge, or we can have this push pull all the time where things keep changing. There's nothing stable, and the agents essentially learn in a way from how we built things so far. If everything is built slightly differently, it's easy enough for them to miss things and introduce drift on their own. But if they see that you intentionally work in multiple directions and you don't set the direction, this is the example of a friction that might just kill any progress.
Yeah, indeed. So what do we do about it?
I think the primary thing is you need to accept that you're a learning organization now. If you are not a learning organization, you're stagnating or almost dying organization. Because if you don't accept that how we work is also something that we need to study and improve, if you don't focus on the people problems, that people by organizational problems, not like, that somebody is
Yeah. Got it.
if you don't focus on the people aspect of how your organization as a system function, these problems also get amplified. There are interesting things that you can try. One of them is everybody should be open to try new things. I think also the relationship between the expert and a student has changed. One thing that we've done at Duco is we've given the coding agents to everyone,
Okay.
and everyone is building things now. You can have an example would be, let's say, an agent that supports or helps the support get some guidance sooner, or for instance, some productivity tool that is adjusted to the needs of a neurodivergent employee who didn't know how to figure things out before and just tried on something, they built something and they can use it now, right? These are things that I have no idea about. I would love to learn from them about it, which means that they have something to teach me. Now, they also don't know how to deploy things. They don't know how to do the observability. They don't know how to save themselves from accidentally losing everything and not knowing how to recover. So I have something to teach them. So I think the key part is you need to be open and curious and humble. You need to learn from everyone that has anything to show you, even if they don't think it's something you can learn from them. And you need to be open to supporting people and opening them to new ideas and thoughts for them, because the roles are shifting in a way that nobody really knows which way they are going.
That's for sure. But it's so what you're describing is what is usually a transformation. So it's not just introducing a tool. It's really a transformation. So you talk about people, organization. You talked about or alluded to mindset. So the fact that you need to remain open, and we talked earlier about Werner. I think the talk of Werner is a great example of the type of mindset that we need to embrace for this new era. Where yes, we need to be to demonstrate more ownership. We need to demonstrate curiosity and go beyond our level of responsibility, but also get some point of view from different people who are experiencing, because there's so much happening at the moment that you can't cover everything. So
yeah, I think a lot of the requirements for the future right now are about the people skills, right? About the thinking about how you think. Something that comes to my mind immediately is the talk that we're talking about. The Werner's talk starts with kind of a history of changes and how the development is going to end now.
Yeah.
And then how some things are being recommended as the next thing to do. Something that is very important that I think Werner mentioned over there is he shared all of the things he said that were changing, and some of them he said like, this actually didn't work out. I think this is the lesson. Be open to try things, be curious, be open to get things wrong and to backtrack from it. It's
Yeah.
always, not always, but quite often it is a 2-day door. If it is, just try and see, but be prepared to say this didn't work out. We need to do it differently.
Yeah. So it means also in terms of leadership. So not only you need to encourage your people to have that, but also to give or to change the mindset to say, okay, you can test, but they should feel that they are in a safe environment to fail, because that's where innovation comes from, right? So if you are, if you can be blamed about your failure, you're not going to try new things. You're just going to stick to what you know.
Yeah. One thing that it also means is if you want people to fail or keep trying, fail, and keep trying again, you also need to think about the cost of failure.
Yeah.
And this goes back to kind of developer experience. One thing that I will get her name wrong, but there is a developer advocate person at Amazon, Laura Taco or Taco.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So Laura mentioned at one of the sessions or the summits that she was to, that the Venn diagram between the developer experience and the AI experience is a circle, because it's precisely that, right? If it is cheap to try, cheap to fail, if the risky, innovative problems become boring problems, because that's essentially what the innovation is. You take something exciting and make it boring,
Yeah.
so that everyone can use it, or you throw it away when it doesn't work. If you make things simple or easy to fail, recover from, and learn from, and readjust, this is where you get the biggest learnings. If you push for any sort of business or efficiency, you need to have attention with efficiency. I guess I said this and I thought about this, right? You need to be reasonable in some things, but you need to be open to risk as well. If you're doing this, you may get it sometimes right, sometimes wrong. This will allow you to keep going and transform your organization.
Yeah. But so you talk about the individual at the individual level, but how do we enable that at the org level? How do we make sure that I mean, obviously, as an org, we need to deliver, but we need to also give. I mean, we need to deliver with quality, with and meeting the deadlines and so on. But also, we need, specifically now, we need this time of wonder. We need to have time to explore things and try new approaches. And I wonder whether, you are doing something a bit specific in your company at the moment to enable that, to allow people to wonder.
Yeah, that's a tricky one, right? My first response was, if you figure out how, tell me how, right?
Okay.
The things that we are doing is we have given people a tool and tell them, figure it out, try things, share, and then let's mix those ideas and learn from it. But also it's like, understand the risks. So I generally am of strong opinion that we are blessed with a great InfoSec team. My experience from previous places is that quite often InfoSec teams are the emails. We have InfoSec team with names that we talk about the intentions, we talk about the risk, we talk about the reasons, not just policies, processes, and constraints. And this is something that gives you, I mean, it doesn't give you a guarantee, right? But it's quite often about tipping the odds, right? Which risk we can accept, which risks we cannot accept, things like that, right? Another thing is, I think we need to kind of move beyond, like, the system is just the software development system. The system is the whole organization. So systems thinking is a critical thing. Something that comes to my mind is, I believe this is Deming versus Drucker in the management schools. So, Drucker is all about measuring things.
Yes.
Deming is about thinking about the systems and nudging the systems to change the behaviors. Something that struck me was I read a book, Design of Everyday Things, and it was about how you interact with tools. And the person, I don't remember the name of the author, sadly, but he was involved in designing products at Apple.
Okay.
But one of the things that he became very famous for after the first edition of the book was the doors. Because one of the examples that he did was which doors work, which doors don't work. And then suddenly people attach his name to doors on the internet. So you could find doors that just don't work, right? So in systems, people will always fall down to the default, or they will maximize their rewards or minimize their punishment, right?
Yeah.
The thing that he put emphasis on in the book was if you make the right behavior the default behavior, this is where your odds are tipping towards success. The same thing if you reward things that you want to see. An example that I've seen, like we were migrating all the old artifact management solution at our company. So a lot of things were moved, some things were not budging, the teams were not engaging. So what we started doing is, okay, so from now on, every day around midday, we switch off the old solution for an hour.
Okay.
Just to see what's not working. And also to say, like, this is going to get worse at some time. Probably we'll switch to 2 hours, then to 3 hours, and then we'll just leave it off. If sometimes you need to build friction actually to force the change. Sometimes it is about trying things out and seeing how it works. So the systems changes are part of it. There needs to be the curiosity, but also the willingness to experiment. But the experiments, they can't always happen, let's say, in a stealth mode, because then people quickly realize that they are being played in some way, right? I think another person I learned a lot from is Brené Brown. And she says, clear is kind, unclear is unkind.
Yeah.
And she actually is spending quite a lot of time now running a podcast with Adam Grant, another person that is quite strong in this space. And he has the rethinking cycle, which essentially involves, I don't remember the exact details, but it involves the humility, rethinking, observing, acting. Essentially, there's a cycle of how you see how things work, don't work, and whether you can push or track back. I think we need to be more open to allowing people who don't have the hierarchical organizational authority to try things that make them different and support them in this.
Yeah. So it's funny because we are on the Developers podcast, and most of the things that you just said are more about leadership, about soft skills, which also was called out by Werner in his talk at Renaissance Developer about the fact that it's not just about hard skills anymore as a developer, where you need to be an expert. You need to dive deeper on some topics, but you need also to be a better communicator. You need to also understand the dynamics in your organization. Thinking in systems was another quality that he called out. So very interesting to see how the role of a developer is going to evolve, because definitely much more of those qualities that are required.
Yeah, and everything is changing quite rapidly, right? So if there was something that kind of keeps coming back to my head, which I maybe haven't just put the right shape on, but is there, I think the primary principle for everything right now with the uncertainty is to be first and foremost human. This may mean that we need to normalize uncertainty, but there needs to be psychological safety.
Yes.
And there is a tension between the two, but not necessarily. The psychological safety at an organization doesn't mean, for instance, employment guarantee or that your job will not change. But it does mean that if you make an effort, you are allowed to fail, learn from it, and apply those lessons, right? it also means seeing people as they are, because I personally am pretty anxious about the changes that are happening, and I'm pretty sure this is an elephant in the room. Probably everyone is, right? Sometimes I can't sleep, and I'm wondering, will I be able to pay my mortgage 5 years from now, right? The changes are so rapid that nothing is, given for granted right now. But people are as they are. Sometimes they will struggle. Sometimes they need support. They might be neurodivergent. They might be coming from a disadvantaged background. Their context also matters.
Yeah.
So, as an organization, I'd say my ask or recommendation or an appeal for the leaders would be find what helps your employees try, succeed, fail, and execute, and make space for them to do just that.
Yeah. I didn't expect us to go that path, but I'm glad we are doing, because it's super important, because as you said, this is a big transformation, and we need to remain human in that transformation and leverage the tools that are amazing
Yeah.
now, but they are not necessarily replacing us. But we need to find the best way for us to collaborate with those tools, and
Yeah.
and we think, because I think for many people, a job or a set of tasks has been attached to their identity and the role. But as a developer or as a software engineer, the tasks that we have been used to do, like coding or changing, are probably not part of our scope anymore, or in different ways. We still have to review the code and so on. So it's a big transformation, and we need to recognize, and I think this is where true leadership and a humanist leadership is required for us to be able to navigate through that change.
Yes. I think this is something that we just need to accept. I mean, I never really were clearly only technical person, or like, let's say, a ticket churner, because it was always I always looked around and outside, and how to connect people, how to find the curiosity within them, and how to just use this for us together to succeed, because it doesn't even need to be my name doesn't need to be on it. I just want to see something that is amazing, right?
Yeah.
We as developers, need to acknowledge that we're no longer ticket churners.
Yeah.
We cannot expect somebody to bring us everything, and we are no longer I don't want to say coding machines. I've just been dragged into a conversation about whether AI is humans or not. And I think there are some parallels, but there are strong differences, and we need to be aware of, right? But quite a lot of people think of, I just want to do code. I just want to do my work. Give me a task and I'm going to do it. Right now, it's more of a make the task, but some of the tasks are going beyond, just the, let's call it, stream-aligned pipeline of, there's something that can make an impact for our customers. It's also, how do we do this?
Yeah.
How do we show up to our customers so that they want to stick with us, so that they feel that we've just, made their lives better? And if we can just figure this one out, I think the human part of it, so the first and foremost human, I think this is the future.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was never easy. It will never be easy. But we need to be aware of this, and I think we need to acknowledge that this is the direction that we're heading in.
Definitely. Yeah. Wow. So many things to unpack there. And so many unknowns also. But yeah, I think to go back to what you said earlier, uh, it's definitely a time of wonder. So we need people to explore and, you know, ex- try new things, try new ways. Um, we can see that some success patterns of success, people that are the most successful with AI today are the ones that are kind of starting from a blank page and rethinking their processes, the way they work, and say, okay, now that we have AI and let's think about AI, how do I build around that so I can be more efficient? As opposed to try to force AI into an existing process or workflow and say, hey, I expect it's going to work and much faster, but everything is probably going to break because if you are able to code faster, then the next step is your code review and PR reviews are going to be a pain because you have so much to absorb, you won't be able to cover everything. So it's probably better to start from a blank page. So where are you in this process?
Struggling,
Struggling.
I think, would be the best idea or best answer. I think what helps me is that I always think about things going from the point of, if I don't agree with something, under what circumstances am I wrong?
Okay.
This helps me have the curiosity. And this allows me to also say, I don't understand or I don't agree and I want to figure this out. Right.
Yeah.
I think this is the curiosity helps, but I am also acutely aware that I have the tail of experience. And whatever I'm saying right now might be outdated 2 months from now, or it might be just plain wrong. But essentially, right now, I'm trying to figure it still out, which things still matter that people think don't matter anymore.
Mhm.
And it's not about protecting my status quo. It's just so that we don't lose sight of the basics. And so that we have this curiosity and mutual learning, because I think those basics are the things that I can bring to the table to
Yeah.
learn from those who have the blank page and can teach me about those amazing things.
Good. All right. Cool. You Before we started the conversation, we had a quick chat about how also the roles within your organizations are changing. Can you tell me more about that?
So yeah, I mentioned that at Duco, we all now work with agentic tools and build solutions that can essentially to support our life. Sometimes it's about the automation of tasks, but sometimes it's about doing more something that we haven't been able to do before. So yeah, the key thing right now is that everyone's a builder.
Okay.
And we have this space and encouragement to experiment and try and learn, while also trying to kind of wrangle with the fact that this doesn't mean that we can do anything, and the constraints are not there to make things harder. The constraints are there to help us succeed even more.
Okay.
So yeah, everyone is learning quite a lot right now.
Good. Okay. So across all the roles, right? So
Yes.
software engineer, product managers, you have QA.
The people team are figuring out how to build an agent to help them with their work.
Okay.
Even to that point, as in
People as in
when
HR.
I say everyone,
Okay. Good.
even if you wouldn't expect it. And it's an interesting thing, right? Because as I mentioned, like, I can see what has been built, I can learn from it, and then I can say, okay, and by the way, if you did this thing, this will probably save you a lot of time a week from now or 2 weeks from now. And then let's have a chat about how this helps you and how this helps us and how I can learn from it and how we can build something.
Hmm.
So essentially, I do my best to find time, to make time to have those conversations and the knowledge sharing between people.
Good. Good. Okay. What tools are you using at the moment?
The primary tool of choice is Claude.
Okay.
This is what everyone has. We have tried a few in the past. One of them is AWS Kiro.
Hmm.
It never got a big adoption, but we essentially support both simultaneously. So, for instance, what I do is I have both.
Okay.
Um, uh, my learning curve is more starting on the cloud side because I used to work with Kiro for longer,
Hmm.
and I'm kind of used to the user experience, which I think after working, actually, I'm one of the few people who actually worked with Kiro for a long time and only then tried Claude. I'm struggling to switch.
Kiro CLI or Kiro ID? Both.
Both of them. I did a lot of experimentation and more like harder problems that have a lot of dependencies, which means that essentially, actually, IDE was quite helpful with that for me. But I've also worked with the CLI, and yeah, probably on the scale of 1 to 10 that is running around on the adoption, I would be somewhere around 4 or 5, probably not yet 6 as much. So switching from Curo CLI and from Curo IDE to Claude in the CLI, it is a learning curve. I'm essentially going through this, but I'm intending to keep both of them so that I can see how they compare in their capabilities. And yes, to be able to, so that we keep things open and fresh, because I think this is also part of the curiosity and openness to learning.
Holy, yeah, great. Okay, perfect. Sounds good. So, any closing remarks before we move to our last questions?
Yeah, I would probably go back to this. Just stay human, stay curious, stay humble, and be open to change and learning from others.
Yeah, indeed. And there's so much to learn from others through many communities, or many great AI communities, or every tech communities are also looking at how AI is transforming the way they work. So I think everywhere you are, you can find great people to talk to.
Yes, I can recommend. Yes, you can join either the local communities. If you don't have any local communities around you, you can join, well, the community just like ours, right? We are curiosity driven.
Yeah.
There is a Discord in which we share ideas, mostly about Deep Racer and the AI League at the moment. But this is not the only things that we've been discussing in the past or learning from, right?
Yeah. And we said that the AI League is going to run until the end of the year, right? So we have
Yes.
we have the summits, so a bunch of summits that will be where you can do in person. Is there a way to participate to the AI League also remotely?
Right now, not. Watch this space.
Okay.
I'm expecting that something will come. This is something that, as a Deep Racer community, we absolutely loved.
Okay.
Because Deep Racer was physical and virtual.
Yeah.
And I am pretty certain that the AI League team know that, and they are open to this as a need. So watch this space.
Cool.
But still, make sure that visit the AI League page, reach out on behalf of your organization, and see if you can cooperate and bring the learning there and have some more fun. And also visit the summits. The dates of them are available in the announcement. So maybe you can put a link to the announcement maybe in the description.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Sounds good.
Hopefully, let's meet in Vegas and maybe let's compete.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes. All right. So our last round of questions. You mentioned several books already. Usually, I ask, okay, what do you have? If you have one book to recommend, what would that be?
I don't have a one book to recommend. I have many. If I were to recommend one book, I would recommend the one that I'm reading right now, Strong Ground by Brené Brown.
Okay.
Probably just because it has also the synthesis of previous books and other amazing lessons. If it would be technical, the one that made the biggest impression on me right now is Frictionless. I do not remember the authors, but maybe we can look it up after.
Okay. Cool. Perfect. Thank you. What are you going to learn next or dive deeper on?
That's a mystery, right? I'm pretty sure I will learn what I don't know very quickly, because
no one topic that you have already identified.
I think the thing that kind of draws my attention right now, because it also can sometimes get on my nerves, is kind of the systems approach to how we structure and unlock. How do we build the structures that help people move faster without skipping the basics?
Okay.
So things that I'm thinking about is essentially in developer experience, how can you build kind of the starting point, which is a baseline with the observability, with the management of change, with the constraints, controls, deterministic checks, because the back pressure, the feedback that you need to have. AI will do only so much. You also need to kind of always tap back to the basics. This is the space that I'm most curious about right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is also the thing that everyone is trying to figure out.
Yeah, good. And last question before I let you go. What other developer should I interview next?
Oh, have you talked to Adam Bean?
No, I don't know Adam.
Talk to Adam.
Who is Adam?
Adam is one of the DevTools heroes. As a DevTool heroes, you will probably be able to guess that he's based in Germany. He is. He also runs his own podcast, and I've had multiple conversations with him about experience working with Java, which I always found very insightful and interesting.
Okay, sounds good. So I will connect with Adam then.
If I can recommend a second person,
Please.
how about you? Would you be able to invite Martin Foot from Duco? I think he would be a great person to talk to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not? I will ask you to make the intros then.
I will.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Thomas, and yeah, have fun at the summit. It's still the morning, so hopefully, you will have great talks and a great engagement with different people in the community today.
Thank you so much, Roman, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise. Cheers.